Welcome to the Maple Mafia channel, guys. We go live on Friday evenings at 3 on the Maple Mafia channel. Today we're going to be talking about eBay. We've got some crazy items listing, some crazy items coming off. Check it out.
Yeah, we got a bunch of awesome plants. For instance, the very first one goes off in 59 minutes. And that also means that in 59 minutes, there's likely another one getting listed. So a bunch of cool things happening on this. If you're not familiar with us, we're MrMaple.com. We also have the Mr. Maple Show here on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed to both this channel and that channel as well. And we love Japanese maples. We're a mail order company. We actually have an open house tomorrow, and we're located in East Flat Rock, or really, the address is 4 Leafy Glen Drive for this next open house. Y'all, we'd love to have you here. We've got it tomorrow, which is October 26th of 2024, from 8 a.m. all the way until 4 p.m. So if you're interested in that, make sure to show up. We got a bunch of cool plants there, but we're talking today about all these cool plants getting listed on eBay.
Yeah, there's some killer plants. They're going off in less than 30 minutes, some of them. Some really crazy stuff. Agape. There's just some really dope plants, some things we wanted to get on there. So Agape is coming out in 58 minutes from now while this is airing, so right at 4 o'clock.
Now, Agape is a seedling evaluation that became a cultivar for us because it is next level on its reticulated variegation. Agape is sort of an ode to our Aunt Marilee. She had Agape 7 on her tag of her car always. And
she always used that to witness to people. It was a fun thing. Agape means God's love for man. And I always wanted to find a special tree to put that on for Marilee.
And it was hard to find a tree that was special enough. And for us, Agape, this selection here, this one fit the bill. I mean, that means we have high praises for this tree. And
it was actually a tree selected by Talon Buckholtz. He just didn't put a name on it. Sent it to us for further evaluation before we bought the farms. We've had it a few years now. Talon said these are worth another look, maybe something worth introducing here. I'm going to send you some things I was working on before I retire. And the first of those that really turned out, we had the whole Pseudosmoldianum series he sent us at the same time. So those will be some cool things coming up that are under evaluation. But one of the first cultivars we got onto very quickly from that is what became Agape.
Yeah, and it was originally one of the rising stars that he said need to be evaluated further that he'd sent us. And, it was this large 10-gallon tree, and we just fell in love with it.
It's in that eye candy top family.
It is. Very intense colors, though, on Agape, and it showed very intense colors for us here in the South, which was very impressive to us. And it stood out with brighter, more intense colors to us.
So you can join us either on the Mr. Maple Facebook group. We're in there live on Facebook. Tim's got his up live. You can also, if you're there and you want to join us on our YouTube, go find the Maple Mafia on YouTube. As this channel grows, we're going to be doing more giveaways, more fun things here. Our goal is to kind of decrease the clips a little bit. We're still going to be doing clips here, but to provide you some more individual original content here and a lot of stuff that's low edit. So stuff we can just walk around with a camera and film. Some fun stuff like going live like this, but just kind of a place where we can come and interact with you guys without all the pressure of all the edited fun content we do on the Mr. Maple Show. So kind of a laid back channel here, but it gives us a chance to go live more, discuss things like eBay, just hop on here and have a chat with you guys too. It's kind of a interaction page for us.
So in an hour and 10 minutes from now, so that's close to 4:15, Acer Campestre Postilence gets listed. Y'all, many people know Acer Campestre, but they know it because of Carnival. And Carnival is a green with white variegation to it. Postilence, this is one that leaves out as a golden yellow of an Acer Campestre and then is a bright yellow-green throughout, a big part of the summer and late spring. This is the next level Acer Campestre. And again, this one's listing sometime, it goes off today, sometime around 4:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Really cool plant. I'm going to take these and pin them one in the group, the chat, and in the chat for the YouTube channel. So you'll be able to check that out both. Campestre or European field maples are tough as nails. They're durable. A lot of you are probably more familiar with Carnival. This is a chance to get some more variation on that species.
So next up, we've got Acer Pomum Die. We've got this in a Welsh pot. You can see in the photo there on eBay what a Welsh pot actually is. Oishi is one of the more rare selections in that lion's head family. You've got the Shishigashira, the Ojishi, and the Meijishi. Ojishi end up being the male lion, where Shishigashira is the female lion.
Really cool plant again. Another one. We have a really nice specimen of this. We did a cultivar breakdown at Buckholtz. Phenomenal fall colors, durable, heat tolerant, smaller than Shishigashira. The male line actually stays much smaller. I mean, this one's going to be 6 to 8 foot even in a 10-year period. Much smaller than Shishigashira during the same time frame. And same great fall color, a little bit more flattened out on the leaf. Still very popular for bonsai. Same durability that you see with Shishigashira for heat tolerance and cold tolerance, but a little bit more rare in the trade.
And it's a really slow grower. And so this is a really nice size Welsh pot. This came from our Buckholtz farm. And when I was going around trying to figure out some interesting items to have on this eBay, it just stood out to me because when we've listed it before, they've often been smaller Welsh pots or smaller 1 gallons, and they sell out really quickly. And so I knew, hey, here's one of these. Let's throw this here on the Maple Mafia eBay, because that is basically what a lot of these are. They're items that high demand, giving people another opportunity to be able to get some of these items. And many of these may be stock plants. So they may have been stock plants in part of our Area 51 area that then get pulled out because, hey, we can part with one of these for our eBay, the Maple Mafia here on eBay.
Yeah, it's a chance to kind of get some things early. So it's kind of the look behind the window. I mean, some of these things will definitely be coming to 10 at 10s. Like I always tell people, we're producing the cool stuff. We're going to keep producing it. But here's a chance to kind of find it ahead of time and get in front of the line if you want to.
I know that we've been collecting some different seeds on Ojishi, seeing if we find some variation at the Buckholtz farm. Corbin was really trying to get us to find a seedling and name it Wildcat.
Maybe there'll be
and when I was looking
Wildcat later.
When I was looking through the seedlings, I didn't see anything worthy of getting a name yet. But there were probably 20 or 30 seedlings to go through and look at and see if anything ends up standing out over time.
Great plant. I think one we'll keep offering here, Mr. Maple, for sure, too.
So, y'all, next up, we've got Hatode. And Hatode ends in 1 hour and 37 minutes. That's 4:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hatode translates to starfish. Talon was walking around in Europe, ended up naming Peve starfish, not knowingly, and that name stuck into his head. And when he found a Japanese maple that also had cupped foliage, he decided to call it Hatode, which is Japanese for starfish.
Makes a perfect pairing with Peve starfish, too. I mean, it's a Talon Buckholtz introduction. Hatode Japanese there, as Tim was saying. It's a perfect pairing with that green convex leaf. Really fun one. Small, compact stature, typically 6 foot and 10 years as well. Go to work zones 5 through 9. And for all those reasons, it pairs really well with Peve starfish. Makes a perfect companion plant to that.
And it is a slow grower. This means that you need to make sure you're not overwatering. People often overwater the slower growing Japanese maples and not realizing that overwatering can, cause a lot of damage, especially some of the slower growing, more dwarf selections.
Here's one you won't want to overwater, even though it's named after a fish. We've got Acer Pomum Die, quite the popular tree, named here at Mr. Maple. Very durable, very interesting, compact structure of Mitsuba Yatsubusa. This one leaves out with some bronzing in the early spring, but what really makes this one special is the fall color can be just probably the best fall color of any Mitsuba I've ever seen, a mini Mitsuba variant. Now, we'll get that kind of bronzing with kind of like pinkish growth on it in the spring, which is really nice as well. But I've had this one be like neon yellow and neon orange in the fall, just really some of the most premium colors. Koi getting out there. People are liking this one. It's one that's getting more popular. It's got a good name, but it's a good plant. It's super durable, and it's a cool trait to see, I think, in Mitsuba Yatsubusa. It adds to the category of Mitsuba seedlings.
Now, next up is an Acer Pomum, and this is a seedling, and we call this grouping of seedlings bonsai babies because they have a tight, dense habit. They have really small foliage, and the new growth on this particular one had a little bit of coral kind of color to it, so it was really interesting to me. I just pulled it out because I was like, if I was thinking this was a cool plant, this is one of the ones of this grouping that I would choose, and that's one of the reasons why we put some of these together. Mainly, sometimes it's for people who are actually going to turn this into bonsai, but this would obviously make a great container plant or tree in the landscape as well.
Great plant. Chance to pick these up. I mean, several of these Tim and I saved to see if we want to turn them into a cultivar eventually. This was one that was actually in that pile because we liked it the most, but we decided to part with a few of those. I mean, you can't keep everything here. We tend to hoard plants. So one of the things about this eBay channel is it gives us a chance to sell some plants that we might have kept for ourselves.
Next up, we've got Acer Olive Rain and Mystic Jewel. Now, sometimes in Europe, you'll see this listed as a palmatum, and it's clearly not just a palmatum. It has leaves that remind you of hot blonde. It looks very olive rainum to us, and that's the reason we have it listed as the Acer Olive Rainum X Mystic Jewel and not the palmatum that you may see it often listed as in Europe.
Super heat tolerant, flashy foliage. I've had it be yellow in the spring. I've also had it be like magenta purple. Like I've had it be like lavender sometimes. Really a funky one. Kind of has a little bit of a hue to it, kind of a shiny, glossy hue to it as well. Just an overall great plant. And I think you're going to like this one. It's really fun. Big one here. So that one is in a 2-gallon, excellent size plant.
So this is an XL tall. So that basically means it ships in our long shipping box. This thing takes off and grows very nicely. And the new growth flushes during the summer have that magenta kind of color again. Again, that color isn't found on any other maple. That's one of the things that makes Mystic Jewel so special and different is that magenta purple color that just gets this unusual purple new growth color that you can't find on any other tree.
Makes a great pairing with hot blonde as well. All right, next up, guys, coming out in less than 2 hours and 34 minutes from now, we've got Oaken's
Red Mini.
Yeah, Oaken's Red Mini.
Yeah, Oaken's Red Mini is a dwarf red Japanese maple, tight, dense selection. This was a selection that was given to one of our friends down in Georgia by George Oaken himself. And it's a witch's broom that's not really in the nursery trade. This is very unusual. You don't see it frequently offered. I had a set of about 7 or 8 of them that I was deciding to keep for stock plants. And after channel, again, this is one of those ways to just let something go that we weren't going to release yet. And so here we've got Oaken's Red Mini.
Nice compact 4x4 ball. Really dense, big 1-gallon here too. Again, it's a stock plant, so it's a big one for 1. Likely was about to go to a 3 and get grafted on. Another one, big for its size, guys. Jade Dragon, Acer Pomum Die Jade Dragon, getting a lot of attention, getting some bids.
And that's ending at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. It's got a well-branched structure to it. Jade Dragon was our very first introduction here at Mr. Maple. It was actually our dad's introduction. A collector of his, a friend of his, had found this as a chance seedling and brought it into him. And I'm telling you, it's tight, dense, extremely compact. You can see the one in the photo up here above us, and that's the original one at Maplewood Gardens.
Yeah, really tight, dense, compact, easy to root, so you can root this one for bonsai, air layer from it. It's a tree that's perfect for bonsai. And yeah, just a cool piece there. One of our very first trees we ever introduced here at Mr. Maple. Really small and compact, though. Next up, we've got Acer Pomum El Tigre.
And this is the last thing going off this evening. Now, more trees are getting listed all the way up this evening, but this is the last thing going off and ending today. And El Tigre is a tight, dense Makawa type that's variegated.
Yeah, really dope. This one has like some real weird swirling in it. One of the more variegated ones. You get this heavy coloration in it, which I think is just really nice. Sometimes you'll have like a half leaf, half one color. Really nice color to it. I like how it leaves out in the spring, kind of cupped down too. Really interesting overall plant.
I think that gives it a unique texture. You don't find on any of the other Makawa variants. That springtime to me, it's just neat because of how it has a cup leaf in the early spring. I think that alone is an interesting characteristic for a Makawa type. And then you add on top of that you've got this variegation that becomes more prominent during the late spring and early summer. This is a next level Makawa variant that I think we'll be doing for years to come.
All right, guys, coming out here. This is actually be on the Sunday drop. Very popular one for a lot of folks. Hasn't been able to been picked up yet unless you were at an open house. A few of these went out at an open house last year. Makawa variant that was introduced by our late great friend, Dr. Charles Murray. So Dr. Charles Murray, really cool guy here locally. Talked to us a lot about the 1700s list. He passed away a week and a half ago. So our thoughts and prayers are with his wife and daughter. Just a cool guy, though. Got us into the 1700s list and was friends with Peter Gregory and JD Vare trees. So those were kind of legendary things to talk to us about back in the day when we were at the tailgate markets around Asheville. And this was one of his best Makawa variants. Dr. Murray loved to go through seeds and select, and was a longtime seed collector through Mitsuba Yatsubusa. This one has a beautiful orange in the early spring. It really bright display of orange with kind of some yellows below it. Really caught our attention. One we really, really liked, and just kind of was playing around with names on it, but Nemo's what stuck with it. And real fun one there from Dr. Murray.
The original sits out here in front of the office in the ground, and it's been one that I just thoroughly enjoy each and every year. He brought it to us in this unusual, like 3.5 gallon pot that was a square pot. This was the first time that I really saw a square pot being used in that large of a 3 gallon. And it's just this unique little dense dwarf. He'd been evaluating it for years, and he gave it to us and said, guys, I want y'all to introduce this. And, he is someone who's known maples for years and been evaluating this particular seedling for a number of years as well.
Another cool one coming out next. This one, I'm going to get it to production heavy. I've got it to Buckholtz Farm now. We're going to be grafting a lot of it, but here's a chance to jump to the front of the line and have it. It'll probably be next spring before we actually offer decent sets of this. But Nani Weni. This is one of my all-time favorite spring displays. I would put Nani Weni up there for me in that Mila category. We've helped popularize Mila a lot in the U.S. Nani Weni is on that level. It's kind of like the pink Mila. Like you get that yellow undertone, you get that fiery spring. Might be one of my favorite pink spring maples of them all.
Yeah, I mean, the intensity of the color is one that lasts for a little bit longer than some of the other varieties as well. And this is one of the best spring interest Japanese maples. I mean, hands down. We've always been trying to get this tree up in production more and more. Buckholtz Nursery has a number of our stock plants of this. And, this was a future stock plant as well because we're working on trying to get this in as big a numbers as we can.
All right, here's one you don't see many times. Acer Pomum OG Nosen. That's a rare full moon maple. Extremely rare to see in the trade. You don't see this one in the U.S. much. One of the very first times this one's ever been offered in the United States.
And to be fair and honest with you, I know this is a large-leafed Acer Pomum. Some people think it could be possibly Japonicum. I haven't been able to evaluate this longer than having a 3-gallon size tree in the ground. I know we planted a small 1 gallon probably 3 or 4 years ago. And, this plant now is, about 4 feet tall that we have in the ground. Again, this was part of our stock plants to increase the set and be able to offer a larger set on Mr. Maple at some point down the road. And eBay allows us to be able to put one of our stock plants out and allows us to offer OG Nosen, at least one of them, early.
All right, here's a cool one you don't see a lot of times either. We helped get this one in the U.S. Acer Pomum Die. This is a weeping rare Japanese maple, and it actually hails from North Korea. So kind of a crazy story behind this one. Our friend Cor Van Gelderen imported this one from North Korea, and as the story goes, the gentleman he was talking to, he lost contact with after he got the tree. So I don't know if the guy got in trouble for sending him something or how it worked, but our friend was able to import this from North Korea to Holland and get it into production. Really cool, rare lace leaf die. Not many Japanese maples from North Korea. Kind of a cool little heritage to that one there.
Yeah, and unfortunately that guy just disappeared after sending this out. I think he wasn't supposed to be sending stuff out of the country, and he was sending stuff out of the country to one of our friends.
Who knows how that worked out, but, kind of scary one there, but cool plant.
Next up, there's a snow kitten that's been getting a lot of popular attention. We've got a low graft 1 gallon that we're offering here on eBay. Y'all know Snow Kitten. We talked about it a couple weeks ago when we had a 6 gallon on here. And it's a tight, dense, variegated Makawa again.
Another crazy one up here next. Acer Pomum Little Alex. Super rare, dwarf, compact, real small habit to this one. Small foliage to it. Very unique, kind of a pink red in the early spring. Probably the first time offered.
Yeah, I think this is probably the first time we've ever offered it on any of our website offerings. We may have had a small set before in an open house. Bob McCafferty has a lot of unique witch's brooms that he's found. And he calls a witch's broom a blessing because that really is what it is. This dwarf mutation that happens, it has nothing to do with a witch. And it's a tight, dense, compact mutation. And if you take a cutting off of it, you're blessed because you've got a dwarf. And by grafting that, you've got that dense, compact selection. Bob has found so many unique witch's brooms, and Little Alex might be his best. Most people might know Alpine Sunrise, which is his. A lot of them have Catholic names to them that he's found. Little Alex has one of the best pink-red spring colors of any Japanese maple that I've seen.
I could be wrong, but I think that one was named for his brother. I could be wrong, but
Little Alex, though, just tight, dense, compact habit, and to me is possibly one of the best of any of his introductions.
It's been a showstopper here. For us, it's had Benihime-like color.
I think Star of Assisi, which is one of his introductions, is amazing, and Little Alex, to me, is the next biggest winner.
All right, guys, coming up next, we got Acer Pomum Mitsuba Yatsubusa. This is a super rare one you don't see much in the United States as well. Few lucky folks have grabbed this one at open house. I know Bjorn showed some photos recently of when he grabbed it at an open house. So if you don't get here in person, here's a chance to find some of the crazy available here on eBay.
And we haven't had big sets of this one. I know we dropped it the very first time, whenever we had the game show. So we did a game show, and I think it was our very first game show, maybe the second, maybe this might be the second. But Mitsuba Yatsubusa, extremely rare. It's got this unique leaf shape to it that's just
interesting twisting to the leaf too. It all kind of gets a little curl to it,
and it's very oblong, but you still get the leaf shape of a maple in there. Looks very cartoon-esque of what you would think someone might, draw like a cartoon version of a Japanese maple leaf.
Really cool one from Japan. Very rare. Chance to bid on one here today. Talking about a very rare one, here's another Makawa form. I think it's probably the first time it's been offered, but Acer Pomum Columbo.
And Columbo, this one is just a tight, dense, compact, fast-growing, on the density side, little shrub.
Yeah, compact, dense, got a little bit of a curl to the leaf, a little more Makawa Yatsubusa shape, so dense. Kind of looks like you times a Makawa with like a Kiyohime a little bit.
Or a Seiho.
Yeah, really funky, small growth. Really like the small foliage on it. It's going to be real popular for bonsai, real popular for container plants. A new one to that Makawa family, and a first-time offered.
Now, another one that's a first-time offering is Acer Pomum Twinkles. Not to be confused with Green Twinkle. That was an introduction by Buckholtz. This is an introduction by one of our friends down in Georgia, and it is basically a very unique coral bark selection. It has a leaf that almost reminds me of that Mitsuba Yatsubusa.
Yeah, it has a little bit of a curl to it as well. It has a little bit of a crinkle always. So the leaves, it's not uncommon for the leaves not to all point out, kind of have a little bit of a twist to them.
And this one has a dense, compact habit. It's a next level coral bark, dense shape. I haven't seen this much in the nursery trade yet. And again, this is one of the very first times this one's been offered, and it's going off on Sunday at 8 p.m.
Being this one's a coral bark, we're going to list it zone 6 through 9. Very heat tolerant, great container plant. And then last but certainly not least, we've got a fan favorite here. I think one that's going to get a lot of attention as it gets closer. Acer Pomum Ladybug.
Ladybug, this is a dense dwarf, extremely slow growing red spring interest Makawa seedling.
The original one sits out there beside that Nemo. It is a showstopper in the spring for like pink-red displays. Kind of get some yellow undertones. Had a very elegant, almost feminine appearance to it. It's where it got the name Ladybug.
And this is a grafted selection now that we've been producing. And to me, again, this one stands out from many of the other Makawa variants based on its size, its shape, just the appearance of the leaf as well. And we will be trying to get this in more production. This is just one of our stock plants that we've decided, hey, you know what? We're going to release this first through eBay.
We had a lot of people running from the gates for open house for this one back in the day. It's been available maybe one open house this year. I say back in the day, this spring. So it's been a popular one. I think first offered maybe last year, and only at open houses. So here's a chance to kind of get a piece that you won't find unless you're here in person yet.
And so as these items are going off, there's more items listing. So you can get a heads up of what is becoming available on the Maple Mafia eBay store. If you're checking our store, you can click on the seller, check out our other items that are being listed, and you can actually see the items as they list. So as this one here, the Agape goes off in 34 minutes. likely there's another tree getting listed around that same time.
Yeah, we'll have items listing here today on Friday, going off today here on Friday and relisting. Also items going off on Sunday evening and relisting. So remember, when you listen to the Mr. Maple podcast, definitely check out eBay. There might be some cool things going off around that time on a Sunday evening. Gives a lot of you guys an opportunity that can't hit our 10 at 10s to see some of the crazy stuff and bid on it. And, hey, we really appreciate the support, too. We really appreciate it. We've been busy here in Western North Carolina. Things are really great. We're going to be having an open house tomorrow. For any of you guys that didn't catch the beginning, that's going to be from 8 to 4 here locally. So October 26th, there's going to be a costume contest.
And all the information for that is on MrMaple.com.
Somebody might want to Bloody Towns if they win that costume contest at 10:30. So if you're hearing this for the first time, get your best costume, get out here. You can dress up like Tim in some neon. You can dress up like Matt and get the big beard. Come with a big pillow in your belly. Come be Matt or Tim. Find something fun to be. We'd love to see you here, and we're excited to reopen the farm for you and show you around all we've been working on. So it'll be a fun time for open house if you can make it. We appreciate you hopping into this eBay. We also have a huge flash sale Friday going off today. There's going to be a flash sale Friday update. There's going to be a flash sale Friday, a flash sale Saturday, and a flash sale Sunday. So keep checking MrMaple.com each day of the week. There's going to be more items hitting that sales area all the time.
Thank you all for listening today. Take care.
God bless.